everyone, and welcome to the Fan Battle Sports Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. And as always, I got my extremely, I said decent guys with me. I got Mr. BT. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
And then always, uh, wearing that ugly ass Colts shirt, I got Mr. Josh Sr.
Boo! I'm sorry. Go.
Well, what's good, man? You guys can't hate, man, with the 31, 10, and 1, man.
Right.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You got it.
Hey, at least we had one thing in common. We had a tie, so we had one
We
thing
did, we did.
we can laugh about. It's our
I do
teams.
appreciate you guys. I do appreciate you guys beating us week 18 last year. You guys helped us get a good pick, so I appreciate that.
Hey,
Oh,
listen,
bro.
we like the fact that you helped us out so we could get CJ Stroud. Because anyone knows, if they read my articles and shit, they know that I did not want Bryce Young. And I was over the moon that we got CJ Stroud and not Bryce Young. Thank
I
you.
got
Thank
you.
you. So, thank you.
Same. I did not want that middle schooler picking playing starting quarterback for my Houston Texans. So I'm glad we got CJ Stroud. But enough with our teams. Let's move on while we're here. Fantasy. A lot of people, me and BT, we had a Texans chat draft. So a lot of people was finally getting their drafts done, getting their rosters. Thursday, fellas. Thursday is the day. It's like Christmas for us grown folks. It's like, woo boy. So before we kick it off, and let's talk about the strategy to win your league. BT, I'll start with you. What is your key strategy to win it all?
So, my chief strategy is running backs, beep, 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 running backs, running backs, running backs. You can't have too many. I am a firm believer that you need to get the top running backs. And the thing is, because running backs don't stay healthy, you have to have more than three or four. A lot of people try to think that they can stick with just three running backs and really swap out the receivers. And the thing is, largely you will be able to find receivers on the waiver wire, typically in bye weeks or whatever. But what you won't be able to find are running backs. You'll be able to find tight ends. Well, tight ends maybe not super productive tight ends, but you'll be able to get by with the tight end here and there. You'll be able to find receivers. You'll be able to find quarterbacks. What you won't find are running backs, and that's because they get injured. They're a premium. So that's my draft strategy. I know some people try to say, "Hey, let's have a league without any running backs." I'm like, "Well, that's not fantasy anymore." So no, thank you.
Yeah, I agreed with you. Josh Senior, what is yours draft strategy?
It's easier to get the running backs, but I mean, I want to go with quarterbacks because those are guys that had the ball in their hands the most. With the passing yards, passing touchdowns, they can also run in for a touchdown. So, uh, I would pick the quarterbacks because I mean, like I said, the ball's in their hand most of the time. They're the one making the plays. There's the one they're the one to orchestrate the offense. So I mean, that's keys to winning the championship. I think I've won having a nice quarterback. I've never won having a running back leading the way.
Oh, that's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it plans out for him. Uh, we got Sam. Shout out to Sammy Football, Samantha Warnett, the host of the AFC South, trolling Josh like she always does, with the running back Jonathan Taylor being out for 4 weeks. Um, my strategy, it's kind of like V's. I mean, you gotta go running back deep. Like, I mean, that's how you win. Is the ground game, especially now that the passing game is evolving, where they're checking down a lot. So you can get a guy like Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor if he was healthy, um, Saquon Barkley, guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield. B. John Robinson. I know BT in our draft, a lot of people were clowning you for taking him at 3 or 4.
Yeah, so I had the third pick of the draft,
Yeah,
and I picked Bijan Robinson. And let me just defend that for real quick. And
yeah,
the reason I did is for two reasons. One is he's going to be, in my opinion, I think he's going to be the most targeted weapon on that team. Atlanta runs the ball more than any other team in the league. That's number one. Number two, Kyle Pitts has kind of been phased out of the offense. So he's not really a threat. And so basically, even London, I think.
What about Patterson?
I'm sorry?
What about Cordell Patterson?
Well, I mean, I think that he's going to be the backup, obviously. But he's going to get honestly a short amount of carries. Like the only reason why he would step up is if Bijan, in my opinion, goes down. So I think that one of the things about Bijan is that they can line him up in the slot if they feel like they actually want to just pass a bit more. Well, there you go. You're not losing any production out of him because Bijan can actually do that. So I think that's a win-win. I think he's a running back. I think he's a wide receiver. I think he really combines that with both. So I think to me it's a risky pick because he's a rookie, but I think that I'm all about taking the big risks, and I think I made the right pick.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you can catch out of the backfield, that running back's gold. So that's what Christian McCaffrey is. If I have the first pick of the draft, that's what I'm going after. Is Christian McCaffrey because he's kind of like what you were saying, like a Bijan Robinson before Bijan Robinson. He can line up everywhere he catches the ball. So that's my draft. And quarterback wise, I tend to go to guys who can make plays with their legs. A Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, a Lamar Jackson. Justin. I took a lot of risks this year, and I went Justin Fields in a couple leagues. So and Anthony Richardson. So I mean that you just have to. The draft strategy is to get guys who can get you points elsewhere. So that's running the ball, that's catching the ball. You gotta catch it. You gotta get it. But let's see who. Let's see if it works for us.
Let me comment a little bit about the quarterback strategy. Now, Patrick Mahomes is kind of a different breed, so I'm gonna take that out of the equation. Other than a few quarterbacks, and that goes into Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, that kind of type, like ones are just phenomenal. Most of the time that you're taking a quarterback, and I'll put most of these quarterbacks like a Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa. Why did they even try to pronounce his last name? Basically, all the quarterbacks that you have that are basically top three, not top one or two, but like top three to basically like a top 15.
Right.
They're people that are going to try to take them in an early round, like before the 5th round, are making a mistake. And the reason for that is because you could get a mid quarterback that's even worse than them, and the production in terms of fantasy points is going to be relatively the same. There's a difference when you get a quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson because of how productive they are, because of for Patrick Mahomes, how much he actually throws, for Lamar Jackson, how often he actually runs, and how much he puts the ball in the end zone with his feet. So like those are different scenarios. But for most quarterbacks, don't take them before the 5th round. If you're taking a quarterback before the 5th round, you're making a big mistake. You should either take a wide receiver or a running back, tight end if you wanted to as well there, but you really should take a more important position.
Yeah, like like I said, y'all were cooking me in that chat about taking Patrick Mahomes at 12. But like I said, all the other drafts I've been in, he usually goes in the first 10 picks. And I never had a league where I had Patrick Mahomes. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take him. 2nd round. It's not bad. So you know what? Let's do it. But I agree with you, V. I tried to wait the 4th, 5th round. It depends on who's picking before you, right? Like if everybody's starting to pick a court, like say Patrick Mahomes 1st round, Josh Allen's 2nd round, and then you start going Jalen Hurts, Lamar, Joe Burrow. I was like, okay, it's time. It's time to get my guy before he's gone. That guy the guy you're talking about, is on the verge of being fantasy elite, or the guy
Right.
who's just right there. So that's it. All depends on. But that's the fun thing about the draft, right? Is like what's going to happen. I mean, we all can't be like Josh Senior and take Patrick Mahomes with the 4th pick of the draft.
I had to get him, man. I had to get him, man. Because I feel like the way y'all was drafting, I wouldn't have had a quarterback at all. I would have been stuck with maybe a Kirk Cousins, which is not a bad pick, but
I got stuck with C.J. Stroud.
that's not a bad one though. It's not a bad pick. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's still not a bad pick. But I don't want to have to get stuck with a bad quarterback and have all the running backs and receivers, but I got a mid quarterback.
Well, that's the good thing about fantasy. Like you can have a mid quarterback, and if you have great receivers and running backs, your team's going to be pretty good. You're going to see at least the top five, right? So each strategy is their own, you know. So no faulting at that. But guys, let's get here. Let's get to the reason why we're here. Don't sleep on the sleepers. Right now, we're gonna go top five sleepers. But instead of giving the whole five, we'll start five and move to each panelist and move our way up. So Josh Senior, I'm starting off with you, brother. Number 5. Who do you not want to sleep on?
One of my picks said it was an auto pick. I would still say Anthony Richardson. He's a rookie. He's going to be one of those rushing quarterbacks, and he's going to pass the ball a lot. Well, he's going to have the ball in his hand a lot. With Shane Steichen saying that they're going to utilize him a lot this season, especially on the ground, I wouldn't sleep on that pick.
Okay, all right. BT, I kick it off to you.
So, Awan Johnson. So, a lot of people may not even really know who he is, but
the tight end for New Orleans.
Yeah, he's on New Orleans, and he's a 6'4", 230-pound dude. He's a big body guy, so he can win contested catches. Now, last year was his best year at over 500 yards, but he had 7 touchdowns. So we're not talking about a guy that's not productive. He was productive, and now with the better quarterback, Derek Carr is a better quarterback. I think he goes up to about 700 yards or more, and you're now talking about a couple more TDs. So I think that he is a sleeper that a lot of people, frankly, they're not even thinking about him on the radar at all. And I think that he would be a decent pickup.
All right. Well, I got to start with the young guys first, right? So my number 5 sleeper, it's going to be Jordan Addison. I mean, Jay Jetta's the GOAT right now. Like, he's the best receiver, hands down. No argument. Go talk to your mama about it. So what's going to happen on the other side of the field? Addison's going to see a lot of single coverage. So I think if he can stay healthy, because we all know that's the best ability is availability. If he can stay healthy, I can see a lot of single covers and maybe some linebacker coverage on him, and he can easily beat that. So I think with having Justin Jefferson as the number 1, boy can eat. So I'm going to say he's my sleeper to sleep on. And I'll kick it off with my number 4. I'm going to keep it in the receivers. I'm going to go down there in Sammy's neck of the woods of Jacksonville. Same reason. Christian Kirk is the guy not to sleep on because of Calvin Ridley. Everybody does the unknown Calvin Ridley. Is he going to be Calvin Ridley of the past, or is he going to be a different one for missing a whole year and a half? But they're going to at Sunday. That's the guy to focus on. Christian Kirk, he had 71 catches, 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns, something like that. I don't know exact numbers, but it's close.
He had about 1,100 yards, but I think that was fucking fantastic for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, right? I mean, he had a fantastic season. I mean, he was top 10 receiver. So with that, with not being double coverage. I think he's going to he's going to be eaten. Don't sleep on him. VT number 4.
Sky Moore. So this guy didn't really do much at all last year. But here's the thing: he's going to take over as that lead slot receiver. Juju Smith went to New England, and so Juju Smith last year had 930 yards, 3 TDs. Now he was not very productive. A lot of people gave Juju a lot of smack because he didn't have a lot of TDs. So I think Sky Moore is going to be more productive. In college, one of the things that I liked about Sky Moore, because I actually wanted him for us, and he's aggressive for a small guy. Now, he's not a 6'4" guy. He's like 5'10", 5'11", but he's aggressive. When he catches the ball, he tries to get those extra yards every single time. He will tackle into you to get the extra 1 or 2 yards, which means that he'll tackle into you to get that extra touchdown. So I think he's going to be as productive as Juju in terms of yardage, and I think he's going to get more touchdowns. So I think he's going to have 900 yards, and I'd say at least 5 TDs and possibly more. But I think Sky Moore is a pickup that you want. At least keep him on your bench because I do think he's going to go off.
And he's also like a Swiss Army knife, like Debo Samuel and Tank Dell that we hope he can be. Where you do a whole bunch of reverses with him, you can line him up in the backfield as a running back. Like there's a lot of schemings you can do with Sky Moore. So yeah, I would have him higher, but hey, 4 is not a bad spot. Josh, what about you, brother? Number 4.
You just mentioned his name, man. Tank Dell. Still going to rookies. Man, watch. I know he don't have some burn in the preseason, not a whole lot, but just that one game, he looked extremely well. Looks like a veteran already, but I know that he's going to be in your return game. He's going to be all in your offense, heavily using your offense as a receiver, slot receiver, as a running back, as whatever, as a gadget type of player, like you said with Debo. Right now? I don't know who your 1 and 2 is. Is it Woods and Collins, or
that's the way it looks like right now?
That's what it's looking like.
So Woods so having him getting those underneath passes and taking them to the house, that's gonna be deadly. I wouldn't sleep on that pick. I like that guy, man. You guys, I was disappointed when I saw you guys pick him up because I thought we would get him, and now we got to see him twice a year because he's that damn good.
All right. Well, BT, I'll kick off you number 3.
So this one is probably going to be a head scratcher for a lot of people, but hear me out. So Russell Wilson, because a lot of people are saying that he's done, he's washed, you should never even think about him in terms of fantasy again. But I got to say a couple of things. First thing, there's a reason why he did so bad last year. Nathaniel Hackett was not a good head coach. Now, he's a good coordinator, but some people can be good coordinators but can't be good head coaches. He was not good at game management. He was not good at actually head coaching. We've heard some of the stuff that Sean Payton said Hackett could have won the award or something like that for the worst head coaching job ever. He shouldn't have said it, but I think I agree with them. Russell Wilson also lost one of his closest friends that used to be his life coach. Now, you can just translate that word for therapist. When you lose someone that's as close as a best friend and a therapist to you, and you're in a new scheme, new head coach, players that you don't know, it can kind of get overwhelming. And I think that's what happened to Russell Wilson. Last year, he also, got some of his weapons were hurt as well. Now, we do have a situation with Tim Patrick, who's now out for the year. But Jerry Jeudy is still there. Yes, he's hurt, but he's not on IR, which probably means he's going to be playing week 2 or week 3, if not week 1. He's still questionable for week 1. He still has Cortland Sutherland. He has Mims now, Mims Jr. And if you've seen the videos and stuff, he's lost weight. He obviously is a better coach than Sean Payton. So I think that Russell Wilson is a quarterback that you can take. Don't rush and try to get someone in the 4th round because everyone starts taking quarterbacks. Be calm, relax, and you can get Russell Wilson and you can laugh at everyone because when you take him in the 6th or 7th round because you got a quarterback in the 6th or 7th that's producing as much as the guy they took in the 3rd.
All right, Josh, what about you? Number 3, who you got?
I was going to go with Cordell Patterson simply because, you have Desmond Ritter. I still feel like he's not a good quarterback. I know you got Robinson and you got Angler, but I feel like Cordell Patterson is that guy. He's going to have the ball like he has the last couple of years. That's why they re-signed him because he's a threat in punt return. He's a threat in the offense. He's just like a Tank Dell before Tank Dell and Debo came to form. So you never want to sleep on that guy there at any point. He can be a tight end. He's all over the place. And so I wouldn't sleep on that. I wouldn't get him in the first 6 rounds, but I definitely would pick him up as a flex.
Okay. I like it. Well, my number 3, people's going to call it a homer pick, but you know what? I really don't give a crap. It's going to be Dalton Schultz. I think it's tight end that the red zone, going to be a beast. And who is the rookie's favorite target?
The tight
The
end.
tight
Tight
end.
end.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. So I think he's going to have a lot of high catches, but especially in that West Coast zone scheme in the end zone, I say he has at least 8 or 9 touchdowns, if not more. I know a lot of people have him ranked like around the 20th tight end. Don't be surprised if he's like number 12 or 10 tight end this year. So don't sleep
He
on
was
Dalton Schultz.
he wasn't bad last year. So I mean, I
He was
wouldn't.
a
I mean,
top 10 tight end last year.
yeah, he
Yeah.
wasn't bad last year. So it wouldn't be a bad pick to
Well,
have.
but you know how it is. He goes to the Texans and everything is going to fail. So it is what it is. But I think he's going to be somebody not to sleep on. If you get him in the later rounds, it's a steal. So, all right. Well, I'll kick it off with number 2. I'm going to say Javon Williams in New Orleans. Of course, Kamara is out for 4 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, for some reason I thought it was 4 or 6, so I'm glad you said 3. So 3 weeks. Don't be surprised if even if he comes back, if Williams don't demand the more touches because of how dominant he's doing. I think with like you said, VT earlier, a better quarterback play in Derek Carr, that the offense is going to be running a lot smoother. Dennis Allen knows how to help with the run game, so I think he's one to take control and keep the job, and going to be a guy not to sleep on very well. So VT, I'll kick it off with you. Who's your number 2?
Before I even say who's my number 2, I got to say I have both of those guys drafted in this last draft that I have with you, and I agree with you on Dalton Schultz. Obviously, I drafted him, and I will say that I do think that he has the potential of being a top 10 tight end. So yes, don't sleep on him. And Kamara, one of the reasons why I loved Kamara is because he's great in the passing game. You know, he's never had 1,000 yards on the ground, but the reason why he's so great is because of that passing game. So when you're talking about full PPR, when you're getting that points per reception, that's why Kamara does so well in fantasy, because of the passing game, and that's where he's going to excel with Derek Carr.
And I think that's where they're going to run it too, right? They're going to use Williams for the running because let's be honest, Williams' running is a lot better than Kamara's. But when it comes to screens and, like you said, passing plays, don't be surprised with Kamara. Like if you need a 3 and 4, Kamara's going to be out there for a check down.
Right.
So yeah, I can see that. So go ahead, number 2. Okay. What you got?
So my number 2 is Rashad Penny. Now he does have issues with health, and so I understand why some people want to stay away from him. And depending on the league you're in, you may have better options. But here's the thing: he's on the Eagles. The Eagles are a heavy running team. We know that yes, they did lose their offensive coordinator, but they obviously will not move away from the run. So what I think will happen is Rashad Penny, as long as he's healthy, is going to do better than that he did on the Seahawks. Now, in his best year, he's had 750 yards, 6 touchdowns. That was in 2021. It's not like we're talking about 2017 or something. It's fairly recently. But think about this though: he's had those yards on only 120 carries and only 6 starts. So the Eagles, if you make him, which I think they do, I think they'll make him the RB1 at least in the beginning. And if they make him the RB1, I think he's going to get a hell of a lot more than 120 carries. I figure this dude's going to have about, I would say at least 200, but possibly more, 220 carries. So tack on another 100 carries to what he's done in 2021. And this is a good RB3. Listen, I said you have to win by running backs. So you have to figure out which running backs you can pick up because no one else is thinking about. Rashad Penny is someone you got to think about.
All right. Well, shit, let's keep it with UBT. What's number 1?
The last one is Rachaad White. Now, I understand that Tampa is going to not be the best team, but what do you do when you're not a good team, when you don't have a good quarterback? You run the ball. And so this guy is going to be running the ball a lot. He only started 8 games, had 129 carries, had just shy of 500 yards, 480. And he only had 1 TD. But again, in PPR, he had 290 yards through the air. So again, you're talking about 500 yards on the ground, almost 300 through the air. And I understand he only had 1 touchdown, but I do think they're going to use him more to get those touchdowns. So especially now that Tampa doesn't really have a good quarterback. I think Baker is going to show that. I think he is going to be very, very important in a. It's going to be on a bad team, but he is going to be fed the ball all the time. And anytime you can get an RB1, I don't care if it's on a bad team, but anytime you can get an RB1 that's going to be fed the ball like crazy, pick him up.
Okay. Well, I'll go next, and I'm going to have to end it with Jared McKinnon, Kansas City Chiefs. Dude is the check down beast. Very underrated last year in fantasy. I think he ended up close to almost 200 points. Led the league in touchdowns as a running back. Yeah, he only had like 200 yards rushing, but he had like almost 800 yards catching. So that's the guy to be like VT said with Alvin Kamara, PPR. I mean, that's the guy you would want if you're picking a sleeper in the late rounds. Jared McKinnon, mark it down. Last but not least, Mr. Josh Senior. Who is your number one sleeper? Don't sleep on.
You guys are going to be super surprised, but not surprised. I'm going to go with the quarterback for the Niners, Brock Purdy.
Okay.
He didn't play a lot last season, but when he did play, he helped lead his team to the NFC Championship game. So I feel like with the having more games under his belt in the same system, and having those weapons he's have with Brandon Ayuk, Debo, and you got Greg Kittle, and then you got
George
CMC,
Kittle,
George Kittle, and you got CMC. It makes his job a lot easier. So I definitely would take that pick, maybe your second to last pick, as a sleeper, because I mean the guy's gonna have a full season. You saw what he did with minimum time in the offense, but you get him in a full season in the offense with those weapons. I think he'd be much better than he was in these 8 games he played last year, or was it 8 games or 9 games he played last year?
Right around that.
Yeah, you'll see a lot. You'll see a more improved Brock Purdy, and he's coming off an injury, so he's ready to prove himself. He's a full-time starter. I definitely would take that pick.
All right, man. I love it. I love it. So before we end the show and everything, VT, who are some of the guys out of me and Josh's list that caught your eye?
I would say, well, is it caught my eye or one that I agree with a ton? I would say, like, because if I say agree with, I'm going to say Dalton Schultz, and it's because I feel really, really highly that he is legit going to be a top 10 tight end. I think that what you said was 100% true, that he's going to be CJ Stroud's best friend, especially like for people that don't know, we have 3 injuries on our offensive line, which means that CJ Stroud's going to have to get that ball out really, really quick. And who do you usually get the ball out to when you got to get the ball out so quick? Dalton Schultz. So if you get him, I mean, listen, I have George Kittle when this last draft, and I took Dalton Schultz afterwards. I know everyone will say you have to start George Kittle, and I probably will, but I will tell you, it will be a battle in my head because I know how much that CJ Stroud will have to throw to Dalton Schultz. So Dalton Schultz is the one I agree with the most.
Yeah, and of course I was in that draft with you. You kind of pissed me off because my next pick was Jordan Schultz. Like, you motherfucker. So, Josh, out of the guys, me and BT, who do you agree on with the most?
I agree. I agree with the tight end. I mean, like I said, he wasn't a bad tight end in Dallas. I think he was pretty good. It was pretty good all year long, and even good in the playoff game. So I do agree. That's a pick you should sleep on.
Okay, all right. Well, I gotta go with Josh Senior. I mean, not because I have Anthony Richardson in a couple of my drafts, but I think with the mixture of Shane Steichen and his Superman abilities, the dude's just he's a beast. A lot of people, even BT, compared him to a next coming of Cam Newton on steroids. So he's going to do a lot of carries. That's going to get you a lot of points, and especially in the red zone. Watch out for the read options and the RPOs. So I think he's going to get you a lot of passing and running touchdowns. Look at Justin Fields last year. He was one of the highest rated fantasy quarterbacks. and he did with his legs. So with that being said, I think AR has a better offensive minded coach than the Bears do. So don't be surprised if he doesn't finish top 10 fantasy quarterbacks because of his legs and stuff. So I would have to agree with you, Josh, on that one. So good pickup. Guys, anything before we sign off? Any last words?
I just would like to say that you made an excellent point about AR hitting up in the goal line stance because you don't have JT, and so you're going to have to give that job to him. Now he's
Or
200.
Jelani Woods. You don't have a tight end that you
Yeah,
can
he's out
rely
for 4 weeks
on.
too. So
No,
like,
he's out. He's out for the season, I think.
oh, is he
Last
out for
I
the
heard.
season now?
No, he's 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Oh, 4 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, people got to remember that he was 240 pounds at right on the combine, but didn't he gain like 10 pounds? Isn't he right around 250 now?
Yeah, 252.
252. So this dude is a goddamn linebacker playing quarterback. He is going to run through that D line to get to carry that ball over, man. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if he has 7-8 rushing TDs, and obviously he'll have passing TDs too. But I'm saying rushing TDs 7-8. I don't even think that's a struggle for him.
So you think maybe with a combination of he have a total of maybe 30 touchdowns, maybe close to that 27 total touchdowns?
In the air and running.
Yeah, his
I
total.
mean that's that. I mean, if not 30, close to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
because I agree with you. 27 sounds like a perfect number. 20 passing TDs, 7 rushing TDs, like that I can buy.
I think he'll get about 22 passing touchdowns and maybe 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, so about 30. That's fair. I mean, would I be surprised if he breaks that? Not really. Good for him. But yeah, 30 is the kind of the mark. And you know what? I mean, it's a fantasy football show, right? My fantasy would be if Anthony Richardson wore that Mike Alstott neck roll, just you see, you do intimidating that man is like, boy, that's a quarterback back there, like, dude. So yeah, I hate that the Colts picked him and Steichen. It's going to be a dirty duo for the next 5 years. So, and especially if they get Marvin Harrison Jr., that it looks like there's a big possibility.
Well, he got hurt
can
today.
happen.
He did come back in though, but
okay. But I mean, we still not, we still trying to repair the relationship with JT. So don't sleep on that. Let's get him back.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. You get him back, and then next year when you have Marvin Harrison, because you only win 3 games, I mean, that's gonna be a dirty duo.
It is, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, in the wise words of me, BT's brother, Crenshaw, it's the worst part of the show because it's the end. BT, I'll start with you. Tell everyone where you can find you at and what you got cooking.
Yeah, you can find me at Brown Chubby Bear. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Threads. I'm on everywhere. I mostly talk Texans on Twitter, but feel free to contact me about fantasy. Obviously, I love fantasy football. You could, if you are a Texans fan, check out our Texans Fan Battle show that we stream live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube. And you can find my articles, which are typically about the Texans, on fanbattlesports.com.
All right. Love it. Josh Senior, tell us where we find you, what you got cooking. I know you just dropped a badass article about the Colts. Even though the Colts is trash, this article wasn't. So tell us where we can find you and what you got cooking.
Yeah, like you said, man, I just dropped another hot one out this morning about JT not being traded. Go check that out. It's on the Fan Battle Network at fanbattlesports.com. And you can see me and the gang on Tuesdays, 9:30 Eastern at the Hushel Mile Podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at officialjoshsenior. Not .com, but officialjoshsenior.
All right. And, of course, you can find me at A1 Day 1 Texans on everywhere. I'm not saying whatever platform it is because it's stupid. Everywhere you can find me. And, of course, you can find me with my brother VT Wednesday nights on the Texan Fan Battle Podcast. And on Monday night, Labor Day, I hope y'all have a wonderful day off. enjoying with the family, drinking some beer like BT's doing right now. And then y'all tune in to the AFC South Fan Battle, where we love to talk that shit. So make sure you check us out and check out all the great shows brought to you by the Fan Battle Sports Network. Guys, till next week, have a great one and enjoy fantasy while it lasts. See you later.
Football is almost here.
Yes, sir.